I would consider them more of a blue-collar type people.
Most people have gardens. They're hard-working, honest people.
I'm going to roll my sleeve up every day. I'm going to go to work.
People are very dedicated to their job.
Each of us have a strong faith in God.
Get up every day, whether they're hurting or sick, and go to work.
They were all family people. A lot of people that come here say, y'all have a lot of churches.
Common people trying to make ends meet.
Good, friendly people.
Loves football. Good country people.
A lot of people are born here and they work here, they live and they die here.
One big extended family.
Religious driven.
Community based.
They're not afraid to get dirty and work.
There's so many good people.
Passionate about the sports.
Everybody love each other.
We work together, we know each other.
It's a diverse group, man. Everybody knows everybody.
It's never family.
Everybody helps everybody.
We work together, we live together.
We're all the same people.
That's Tallassee and Reeltown through and through.
Well, both communities are actually similar in a lot of ways. Both have hard-working people in them.
School and the church. Everything else kind of revolves around the church and the school.
They was tight-knit.
Good blue-collar people, hard-working people.
Ambitious people.
All the people here in Tallassee look after each other.
There's a lot of support in Tallassee.
Care about the area in which they live.
God, family, then work.
They are putting the kids and the community first.
You won't find any better people.
A support system like you've never seen.
We're all really just family.
People like to get together, do things together.
They don't mind doing hard labor.
Both Reeltown and Tallassee harbor some of the best people.
Tallassee is an old cotton mill town and a sports town.
Town that used to be a blue-collar town is a mill town. Its foundations come from the mill.
Tallassee was built around the mill when I first got in town.
You have to realize Tallassee for many, many years was a mill town.
It was one of the largest employees, I think, in 3 counties.
A lot of the workplaces set up that they're going to house both Reeltown and Tallassee personnel.
That was the major employer at the time.
Well, the mill consisted of both sides of the river. Everybody from the surrounding area always worked there.
There was people from Reeltown that worked there, people from Tallassee.
Everybody worked at the same place. The mill was a way of bonding Reeltown and Tallassee together.
I worked in the mill with people that played for Reeltown.
You did have people from both sides working at the mill.
A lot of people worked hard jobs in the cotton mill from Reeltown and Tallassee.
Reeltown and Tallassee, someone worked side by side.
The bloodline is very thick with that mill.
This is a small town community, and the stable of this community back in that time was Tallassee Mill.
Even people when graduated or some in high school, they would still work at the mill.
With as many people that work from both communities at that place, I'm sure there was some pretty good ragging going on.
I think some of our coaches on our coaching staff actually work there in the summertime.
A lot of my people worked down at Tallassee Mill.
A nice, gathering pot for people on both sides of the river.
Now, we may all work in the mill, and they would get along, but when it come Friday night, that's a different story.
Many years ago, just about every mom and dad worked in the cotton mill.
Working side by side, Friday night, so you sit there on that bench and you pull for your team.
Almost everybody who lives here has some kind of tie to the mill.
The men worked side by side and the women worked in the mill also.
The mill was the main place of occupation.
I went to Tallassee High School into the 7th grade, and then I transferred to Reeltown.
You go back and you look at the people who have played in it. I think you've got so many families intertwined.
They're close friends, they're boyfriend, girlfriend, now they're husband and wives.
People marrying people from one side to another. You got people who had loyalties to one school going to another. They're more familiar with both sides.
I have 2 daughters teaching at Reeltown and a son coaching and teaching at Tallassee. I've got grandchildren at both schools, and I love them all.
I mean, that kind of, to me, shows how close-knit the communities are.
There's a lot of people that I went to school with, that I graduated with, that their kids are in Tallassee.
I think that's the biggest thing. It's that there's so much of that there's Reeltown and Tallassee all across the board.
So at one time I was the biggest Tallassee fan there was, but then I converted over and got on the right side of things, and I've been a Reeltown rebel ever since.
You have Reeltown people dating Tallassee people who wind up going and they end up married.
I grew up, I had some of my best friends that lived in East Tallassee.
I got grandkids in Tallassee, I got grandkids in Reeltown, so I'm going to go watch all of them play if I can. That's the way it is now.
Your loyalty's always going to be with your child.
I knew a lot of the guys on the other side.
Your kids playing at one school and the other kids are playing at other school.
You can't avoid the kinship that was actually there as well.
Pretty much the case. I have cousins, first cousin kids, On Reeltown team, Tallassee team.
You have grandmas with grandkids on both sides playing for both teams. It's a tough deal.
I was all for Reeltown, and I had to take a different look at it because my baby brother played, and he was a running back for Tallassee. I couldn't do it personally. Couldn't be no Tallassee Titan.
I went to Tallassee and Reeltown as a student, as a kid. I got to see it from both sides. Once they make that move and that kid's going to school and you all in 100% committed.
When Reeltown played Tallassee in '91, I think the next year I was going to be on the varsity and my brother was going to be on the varsity at Tallassee. No rivalry in the house against us two. I mean, we joked. Growing up, you know, with my brother going to Tallassee and I go to Reeltown, nothing was hard about it. We had a great time doing what we was doing.
You know, my dad, like I said, he played running back at Reeltown. My mom, she went to Tallassee High School. Coach O'Neal and Uncle Denver are married to two sisters, and they're coach on the opposite ends. That week of the game, I don't even think they spoke, you know, and they attended the same church.
I think it's going to be great just because you're going to have kids on both sides that might be cousins.
I think opportunity in workforce sometimes drives you to different places.
My favorite uncle, Coach Stewart, staying across the street from him. Every Friday, he would call me Friday morning to give me a word of encouragement.
A lot of people play in Tallassee, play in Reeltown, it's family. Now I got my son playing in Reeltown, so I played for Tallassee, but now I have to pull for Reeltown because of my son. So even though it's my rival, Tallassee is still my home. But right now, Reeltown is my team to pull for. So go Rebels.
You know, we have a 4-year-old who we're trying to decide where to put next year. It's hard because my wife, she's moved to Reeltown, so she teaches kindergarten at Reeltown right now while I'm teaching 7th and 8th grade in Tallassee.
I went to Reeltown up through the 5th grade. A lot of those guys, you know, good friends.
It's blood that somewhere down the line, you know, they were on the other side.
My dad played for Reeltown. I played for Tallassee. Grandmother don't know who to cheer for because she got a grandson over here and a grandson over there. So she just, you know, cheering for the grandkids.
Part of this, the history and tradition is that over the years we've had so many who have graduated from both Reeltown and Tallassee who actually now are working for the different school systems and on each side of the river.
My mother, she was a beloved teacher at Reeltown, so I spent many nights going to Reeltown ball games. That was a huge rivalry.
Coach Webster, for instance, played football at one place, coached at the other.
My daughter graduated from Reeltown. My granddaughter's in the band at Reeltown, and I'm not going to sit next to her mother. My daughter, I ain't nowhere in the world I'm going to sit next to my daughter.
I can go down the list of my customers. It's just unreal how many people are related. It's just really one big family.
People grow up and get married, they convert. And that's not something you see with Alabama and Auburn, but it does happen with Tallassee and Reeltown.
My wife, Jan, graduated from Reeltown. I supported her because she was from Reeltown, and she supported me because I taught and coached at Tallassee.
Me with the dance studio, I've had students in Reeltown and Tallassee too, and we're just one big family. So interacted now.
I am a 1980 graduate of Tallassee High School. My first job that I received it at Reeltown High School. Now I have kids that I taught at Reeltown where the kids come to school here.
You know, Daddy's from Reeltown, we're playing Reeltown, and then I was raised Tallassee, so to speak, and I just couldn't understand it.
I actually worked at Reeltown for 7 years. Sometimes it's kind of hard because I have nephews and nieces that go to Reeltown.
Tallassee will always be my home. Reeltown's just my community now.
I'm Tallassee.
I'm Reeltown. And we have 4 kids. They all went to Tallassee. I would never wear purple and gold. I would never wear purple and... Ask my wife, haven't I have never wore purple and gold to this day.
It's a unique situation. You can have husband and wife sitting on different sides. You know, I had family at Tallassee and family at Reeltown.
My husband went to Tallassee, graduated in 2001, and I went to Reeltown, graduated in 2002. We didn't meet until after high school. I'm sure if we would have both been in high school, there would have probably been a little bit more talk.
My brother went to Reeltown and I went to Tallassee. Felt like a traitor sometimes being on the Reeltown side rooting for the Rebels, but going to Tallassee. You know, we always joke with our kids, well, you probably will marry somebody from Tallassee. You never know, because that's just how it rolls.
Times have changed. People move around now more, a lot more communications. And we found out we're not so different. We are one group of people.
We have so many people that have either married into the Tallassee family or they've married into the Reeltown family.